I think we've, kind of found you guys online, and I believe it was one other company that did some photography for us that recommended. And yes, I looked you guys up and reached out, and there was a representative named Solomon, and he took this journey with us from the beginning. So, started with a small website, and we've kind of escalated to what we're doing now. I was just somebody that we worked with, had word of mouth pretty
Yeah.
much has kind of settled it. So, you can look at all the Google reviews that you want, but when you speak with somebody that's actually had experience, you can't, there's no Google review that's going to, top that.
Okay.
So
And then you mentioned so Solomon was referred to you directly, or he was assigned once you kind
maybe
of
it's a sign.
okay.
And like I said, until Bernice took over, yeah, it was just one on one. And any issues I've ever had, there's no 20 different people dealing with it. It was always him. And like I said, it was no delay in it. I mean, if sometimes I would leave a message 10 o'clock at night, 8 in the morning, I'd get a response. So,
Berenice got in touch with you first, and then she passed you on to Solomon.
no, Solomon was actually who was my assigned representative, but he had left the company a few years back. So that's when Bernice was assigned. No, because we've been kind of progressively working at it, for over 10 years. So it's not like we engaged, one mass project to get going. So it's kind of been baby steps up until we're running. So I was just a website. The best technology back then, what was available, graphics, and it took weeks and weeks and weeks to build, compared to days now, which you
Yeah, for sure.
didn't tell you what a difference it is 10 years to where we are now. I mean, the main one I think I kind of have maybe a little bit disconnect with is when Solomon left, nobody kind of explained, hey, he's leaving. And all of a sudden, you get switched to somebody else, and I'm like, whoa, 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 where is the person I've been dealing with for the last, 7 years or so? I think it was even more. And they're like, oh, he's in a different department. But then, I'm like, okay, well, I'd like to speak with that department. And it took a little while for them to come forth and say, well, he's no longer with the company. That should have been said right off the bat. I mean, I wouldn't say a knowledge gap. I think maybe it was a little bit of a trust issue, you know. But that worked itself out. Like I said, I think other than that, I don't think, hiccups are always going to happen. It's technology, it's
Yeah.
the computers, but I really don't have any complaints. Every issue I think we address ever that's been assigned to you guys has always been taken care of. So, well, I guess building everything, and building the platform and then kind of building your brand. And then obviously we escalated to Google ads and, now we're doing Facebook ads and, you know, different things. So my job is kind of run the company boots on the ground. It's always been, I've never been stuck behind a desk. So I can't, Bernice knows this. She sends me all these graphs and all this other stuff. You know what? If I sent you some of my operational plans, you guys would be like, what is this? This is exactly what I feel like when you guys send that to me. So, I let you deal with your expertise and I deal with mine. Kind of always say that, you're not going to go to get your car fixed at a dentist office or
Yeah.
vice versa. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're just starting Facebook ads. Like I said, it's getting things out there, and sometimes things work, sometimes they don't, and it's not fault of the marketing. It's just demand, and it's like I said, a lot of it has to do with luck. Yeah, I mean, Bernice always, she kind of, if she can't work on something, I mean, we had some issues with some emails and other things like that. And, she escalated it to the other team members and, it got fixed. And at one point, I think we were shut down for like 2 days, which, we weren't receiving anything. And it was kind of at a peak time to where, we were subbing certain contracts out and we had close to probably 300 personnel in the field. And I had no idea where anybody was, no clue. I mean, we were completely blind and, they got it taken care of. So, I thought, I mean, everything pretty much looked like it was wiped out down
Right.
to zero.
But it
So,
didn't come back to that previous level. We didn't have to start from scratch again.
no, no. Some of it lost, but I mean, nothing that was devastating. So I don't know. With all this new AI things coming out and all this, it's all new to everybody. So it's, probably we get 100 emails probably per day, and text messages and all this. Hey, we're going to do this for you for $200. We're going to do this for you for $100. Hey, drop this website designer, drop this company, drop that company. Yeah. Well, you know what? The one thing I guess you could say to whoever's looking at price things in AI, yeah, go ahead and drop to a $50 or $100, I guess a vendor that's going to do what they're going to do for you. That's what you're going to get. An AI full of crap. But, I think the one thing it's focusing on maybe it's not just generating leads. We're kind of trying to look maybe towards a little bit further than that. Maybe like somebody that's sparking an interest, something I don't know that we might be able to generate. Say somebody's looking for, armed security in Columbia, Maryland. Is there a way that, there's some kind of filters or something that generates that list saying, hey, so and so just inquired like 6 different keywords looking for armed security, looking for off duty police. Show me companies in Colombia that have armed police. Like, is there a way to be able to get or catch a list like that to generate? Because obviously I know the big dogs have it. That's how they get all their leads.
Of
So
course. Uh, so you're really right, really being able to track from there, from the kind of the big Google end, what people are searching for rather than trying to do it from your own end.
yeah. Yes, I have, as a matter of fact.
Oh,
So
well.
somebody came to me about a week ago. So I just say you learn from it. But I would say, hey, if Solomon ever comes back to you guys, he was definitely an asset with your company.
Yeah.
So just even personality wise. So